Greetings, fellow dungeon delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Sona 2, Electric Boogaloo. I mean Seraphine, the Starry-Eyed Songstress. Seraphine was born in the city of Piltover to a pair of former Zonites looking for a better life for their daughter in the city of Progress. From birth, she had a natural affinity for music, a legacy given to her by her parents who ran a Hexacoustics workshop. She would often lean out the workshop windows and sing along with the songs of the street. She felt these songs on a deeper level than simple melodies, though. They conveyed the emotions and character of a person to Seraphine, and she became a musical empath of sorts. The songs of all the people in the city were like a raging storm in her mind, and she could barely hear herself over the din. Her parents did what any good parents would do, and sacrificed their life savings to purchase a piece of a Hextech crystal to create a magical dampening device for her empath abilities. For the first time in years, Seraphine heard no one. Until the crystal spoke. A Brackern, one of the ancient crystal beings, had been the source of this crystal, and its voice carried to her kindly. It spoke rarely, but slowly taught Seraphine how to control the noise and her powers. The crystal gave her the confidence to seek out Zon and attempt to unify the two cities. Together with her parents, they dismantled Seraphine's dampener and built a platform that would enhance her abilities. Her song of unity now carries out between the two cities, attempting to bring them together once more. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to take a minute and thank our awesome patrons over on Patreon who support us every month. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on and the hamsters running on their wheels. If you like our videos and want to support the channel, come join us over on Patreon today for just $1 to get access to our awesome Discord community where we talk League and D&D all day long. Alright, now let's get into it. Here's a quick preview of the build. Our race is going to be Fairy. Per usual, our stats are going to be determined using the standard array. For our stat priorities, we're going to max Charisma and dump Strength. We do have a multi-class requirement of 13 in Dexterity and Charisma. Our leveling path is going to be levels 1 through 4 in Bard, jump over to Fighter for 3 levels, then finish out the rest of the build in Bard. Seraphine's passive, Stage Presence, will come from Action Surge. Our Q, High Note, is going to come from Shatter. Her W, Surround Sound, comes from Mantle of Inspiration, Haste, and Protective Field. Our E, Beat Drop, will come from Psychic Scream and Slow. And finally, we get our ultimate, Encore, from Hypnotic Pattern. For race, we're going with Fairy, so we can get some magical abilities and the hovering from our platform. With Fairy, we'll gain a +2 to Charisma and a +1 to Dexterity. Our creature type is Fae, so keep that in mind when your DM tries to target you with Hold Person. The Fairy Flight feature is what we came here for, which gives us a flying speed equal to our walking speed and lets us hover. Try to keep your platform under you for flavor purposes. Fairy Magic is going to give us a once per long rest usage of the Fairy Fire spell and the Druidcraft cantrip. And finally, we get Fae Passage, which is going to let us squeeze through spaces as narrow as an inch wide. For background, this was another tricky champion. I mean, what background could we give to a character who just entertains people constantly? Okay, obviously we went with Entertainer here. This is going to give us proficiency with Acrobatics and Performance and the Buy Popular Demand feature. Buy Popular Demand will get you room and board pretty much anywhere you go as long as you're willing to perform there. For stats, we're going to copy the crazy balance Seraphine must have to stay on that platform with the standard array. Roll if you want to, just keep at least a 13 in Charisma and Dexterity for multi-classing purposes. To keep our performances at hype levels, we're going to take our Charisma first, with our Wisdom right on its heels for those important insight checks granted by our musical empath abilities. Dexterity is next, for both our nimbleness and balance on the platform. We'll grab Intelligence after that for the work she and her parents did to build the platform. Our Constitution is going to be average since we're a squishy support, and we'll dump Strength. For equipment, you're going to need to create a version of Seraphine's platform with your DM. This can be as simple as a wooden platform that you upgrade throughout your journey. We're also going to grab some leather armor for our fighting style later on. Alrighty, no surprises here, but working off the build with levels in Bard. Bards have a D8 hit die and give us light armor and a bunch of weapon proficiencies. We'll also pick up skill proficiencies in Insight, Perception, and Persuasion to really focus our empath abilities. Bardic Inspiration is one of the Bard's iconic features, giving you a pool of Bardic Inspiration die to dole out to your allies that let them add a bonus to any one check, save, or attack roll. The die size will scale throughout the leveling process, and you have enough of them equal to your Charisma mod that recharge on a long rest. And the final thing we'll grab this level is a cantrip. Vicious Mockery allows you to further trash talk all the Sona mains you've emotionally destroyed with your mere existence. You force a wisdom save on them with your harsh words, and if they fail, they take 1d4 psychic damage and have disadvantage on their next attack roll. Second level bards gain Jack of all trades, letting you add half your proficiency bonus to any ability check you make that you aren't at least proficient in already. You also learn the Song of Rest. During a short rest, you boost anyone spending a hit die to heal themselves, giving them 1d6 hit points on top of whatever their hit die roll. This feature also scales up with level, so don't forget about it later on. Level 3 bards choose their Bard College and gain expertise. College of Glamour is going to give us a few important Seraphine features. Enthralling Performance is an out-of-combat version of her ultimate, allowing you to charm humanoids who listen to you perform for at least a minute. If they fail a wisdom save, they idolize you, and will help you even to the point of fighting with you if they're inclined to. The nice part of this feature is that even if they make the wisdom save, they don't realize you even tried to charm them, so you don't hurt your chances with them later on. We'll also get Mantle of Inspiration, which lets you use a bonus action to make you appear inspiring to your allies, giving them 5 temporary hit points and allowing them to burn their reaction to move with their full speed without incurring opportunity attacks. Think of it as a Shirelia's or Karma's Empowered E. Now Expertise comes in, allowing us to double our proficiency bonus for any 2 skills we're already proficient in. We're going to focus on our music and empath abilities by choosing Insight and Performance. And the final thing to talk about this level is that we learn second level spells. Time to grab our cue with Shatter. Shatter creates a 10-foot radius sphere of cacophonous sound waves, forcing a constitution save on every creature in the sphere. If it fails, it takes 3d8 thunder damage. If the creature is made of stone, crystal, or metal, it has disadvantage on the save. Ironically, she's amplified by the Brackern, and her Q can one-shot them. 4th level bards pick up the first ability score improvement of the build. As always, we're going to break them all out for you here so you can pick and choose along the way with what you'd like. At Bard 4, we're going to round off our charisma and lean into our Fey heritage with Fey Touched. This is going to give us a +1 to our charisma, and give us a free use of the Misty spell once per long rest. We learned the spell, so we can use it with our spell slots as well, but make sure you use this feature first since it recharges on a long rest. At Bard 8, we'll max out our charisma with 2 points. Then at Bard 12, we'll take Warcaster to help with our concentration on our ult. Warcaster gives advantage on concentration checks, and allows us to cast spells or cantrips as our opportunity attacks instead of making a weapon attack. And then finally at Bard 16, we'll bump our dexterity 2 points as well, helping our AC and initiative a bit. Alrighty, now that we've got a solid footing in Bard, we're going to jump ship over to Fighter to grab Action Surge and some cool empath features. Fighters have a d10 hit die, giving us a little bit more help in that department. We get to choose a fighting style as well, but since we're mainly a spellcaster, we're just going to toughen up that leather armor we took with the defense style, giving us a +1 bonus to AC when we're wearing armor. And the final thing we'll get this level is a little self-heal called Second Wind, letting us heal 1d10 plus our fighter level as a bonus action. It's not much, but it can help in a pinch when you're out of health potions and spell slots. Second level fighters gain the main thing we're here for with Action Surge. Action Surge is going to let us perform Seraphine's passive by allowing us to cast 2 spells on a single turn. So for her Q, Shatter, Action Surge, Shatter again. For her W, choose any one of the 4 spells needed to recreate this ability, Action Surge, and then choose one of the other 3. For her E, cast Slow, Action Surge, and cast Psychic Scream, or Hold Person if you haven't gotten there yet. Level 3 fighters choose their martial archetype. We're going to amplify our empath abilities one step further with Psy Warrior. This is going to give us a Battlemaster-esque pull of die called Psionic Energy die that power 3 abilities. Protective Field is going to be a shield like our W, which we use as a reaction whenever a friendly creature takes damage. You get to reduce that damage taken by your Intelligence mod plus whatever you roll on the PE die. Psionic Strike is irrelevant on this build since we don't use weapons, and telekinetic movement feels off as well, so we'll mainly focus on your Protective Field. And we're back over to Bard to finish out the build. Level 5 Bards gain Font of Inspiration. Now you gain back all of your Bardic Inspiration die whenever you take a short rest as well as a long rest, meaning you should be handing out those things like they're candy. We also get to learn 3rd level spells, which means our ultimate is coming online with Hypnotic Pattern. We're going to set off a rave of twisting patterns of color in a 30-foot cube, which forces a wisdom save on all creatures inside of it. If they fail, their speed becomes 0, and they're incapacitated till they take damage, or someone uses their action to shake them out of it. 6th level bards gain Counter Charm, and Glamour bards get Mantle of Majesty. Counter Charm is kind of a niche ability, but is really helpful when dealing with a lot of AoE fear effects. As an action, you start belting out a song or some powerful notes to give your allies advantage on saves against being charmed or frightened. It ends on the end of your next turn, but it can be the difference between your ally gaining control over themselves or not. Mantle of Majesty lets you turn yourself into an unearthly beauty, letting you cast the command spell as a bonus action without expending a spell slot for a minute. Any creature you've already charmed automatically fails the saving throw. This feature can only be used once per long rest, but it goes hand in hand with your enthralling performance, so look for opportunities to use that combo. 10th level bards gain Magical Secrets. This allows them to take a peek into other classes' spell sets and grab a few for their own use. We're going to grab the slow spell for the slow portion of our E. You alter time in a 40-foot cube, forcing a wisdom save on all creatures inside of it. If they fail, they have a -2 to AC and their dex saves, and can't use reactions. On their turn, they can either take a bonus action or an action, not both, and it can only make one melee attack or ranged attack, regardless of multi-attack or any other related features. And if they try to cast a single action spell, they have to roll a d20, and get an 11 or less to cast it at that turn. If it's 11 or higher, they have to use their entire action next turn to cast it. At the end of their turn, they can try and make the wisdom save again. We'll also grab Shield of Faith, to give ourselves or an ally a +2 to their AC for the duration of the spell, giving us another form of the shield on our W. At Bard 14, we'll get another set of magical secrets to choose from. The only spell we need to get is Haste, which is the movement speed increase on our W. Like I said, 4 spells for this one ability. Lots of fun. Haste is going to let you boost a creature, giving it double speed, +2 bonus to their AC, advantage on dex saves, and an additional action on each of their turns. Glamour bards also get the Unbreakable Majesty feature. This is another glorious 1-minute transformation that'll let you deter someone from attacking you the first time they try to. They have to succeed on a charisma save, and attack something else if they fail. And even if it does manage to make the save, it has disadvantages on save made against your spells on your next turn, so you just shatter its face off. And finally at Bard 17 we get 9th level spells. We're going to get the stun version of our E with Psychic Scream. You force an intelligence save on up to 10 creatures within 90 feet. If they fail the save, they take 14d6 psychic damage and get stunned. So ideally, you'll cast the slow spell, and then Action Surge, and cast Psychic Scream on all targets who failed their slow save, which is going to be insane burst damage on top of the slow effect as well. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. We got our floating Songstress, and she actually has an impressive amount of damage and crowd control, with all the awesome support utility that Bard brings to the table. She's going to be amazing at supporting your party, which means we did our job right here. Now the bad. The only bads for the build are the ones that you'd commonly expect with a character like this. No martial prowess at all, and very squishy. Though you can peel for yourself, you're still going to need some help from your team if you get focused. So what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, and you get access to our great Discord community. We plan on churning out one League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.